Hello, listeners. We are Cohort 1, Esmeralda, Lauren, Diana, Carolina, and Ambry. We are at the Sam Houston State University Library on November 16, 2017 at 6 p.m. We will be answering questions on how to improve current teachers and what makes great teachers. Hope you enjoy. As teachers, we should assess students in every aspect of education. Educators should take in consideration students' cognitive, linguistic, social, emotional, and level of development in their instructions. For example, the educator should always keep in mind that they are the student's role model. Therefore, they should consider the student's cognitive development by accommodating the child's needs. For example, if the educator needs to speak up, slow down, or repeat herself. Also, they should use sophisticated vocabulary to help improve the student's linguistic skills. The educator can plan group work in order to help develop the student's social skills. Also, being sensitive towards students can help children recognize others' feelings and their own. As educators, we need to be sensitive toward our younger students. According to Whitaker, on what great teachers do differently, if we continually nitpick at a child's writing, they will eventually only use simple words they know how to spell and every short sentences in order to avoid the wrath of the red pen. The teacher should also take into consideration her student's age because physical development of the brain correlates to the motor skills and coordination. For example, if you're teaching a kindergarten class, you can't teach them how to read because their brains are not fully developed enough to require reading skills.
As Esmeralda said, teachers are expected to accommodate students' different learning abilities. When designing instruction to address students' diverse learning strengths and needs, the teacher should consider particular learning differences or needs and bring multiple perspectives to the discussion of content. Make the content relative to everyday life, use the appropriate technology and manipulatives, and learn the pace of his or her students. Author and educator Robert John Meehan said, "Every child has a different learning style and pace. Each child is unique, not only capable of learning, but also capable of succeeding. It is important to respect your students and help them respect each other. Together, the students can know their value and reach their highest potential."
Lauren, I agree. As teachers, we are expected to respect students, parents, and faculty and staff. According to Whitaker, from what great teachers do differently, one of the hallmarks of effective teachers is that they create a positive atmosphere in their classrooms and schools. For a healthy parent relationship, communication is key. Research shows that parental involvement can help teachers focus on the task of teaching students. Having more contact with the parents, teachers can learn the needs and home environment of the students. Therefore, the teacher is able to help the student create an appropriate environment for the student. Teachers should set expectations for the student, let them know what is being expected from them, and show them what respect is. A teacher and a student who have the qualities of a good communication, respect in a classroom, and show interest in teaching from the point of view of the teacher and learning from the students will establish a positive relationship in the classroom.
Yes, Diana, I agree that teachers have to respect their students and respect their learning styles. It is extremely important for teachers to provide learners different kind of presentations because it allows students to better comprehend the content being taught in the classroom. Every child has a different learning style, meaning that each child comprehends and perceives information differently from the rest. As a future educator, one should be aware that we might have a student who has a learning or sensory disability that may require us to approach and teach the academic content differently. Some students may find it easier to understand the content by visually seeing the information or by simply hearing the information out loud instead of reading it from the regular textbook. According to National Centers on Universal Design for Learning, in order to decrease obstacles to learning, it is extremely important to provide the same educational content when presenting the information through different representations, as well as giving information that is in a format that is digestible to the user, and which mean the ability to amplify the certain sounds or amplify certain text. Providing different methods of representations in the classrooms ensures that all educational content is accessible for learners with different learning styles and allows every student to understand the information that is being taught in the classroom.
This is Ambry speaking, and yes, Carolina, I agree. Learning in many different ways is also helpful to relating knowledge to the real-world problems. How many teachers have been asked by their students, when will I ever need this in real life? Many teachers have been asked that question, and some teachers fall short on an answer. That is because some teachers do not focus on teaching outside the classroom, only on what students need to know to pass their classes, because that is experienced on standardized tests. If the content knowledge that instructors are teaching their students is not also taught to be applicable to real-world problems, then the teacher is doing himself and his students a big disservice. The disservice to the teacher himself is he is skipping over the apply stage of Bloom's taxonomy, therefore robbing himself on how to perform one of the important factors that makes a great teacher. He is also robbing the student of how to use the full extent of the knowledge the student is being taught. Larry Ferlazzo, an English and social studies teacher at Luther Burbank High School in Sacramento, California, has written 7 books on education. A piece of his newest book, Building a Community on Self-Motivated Learners, Strategies to Help Students Thrive in School and Beyond, was published in the Washington Post on March 14, 2015. In this piece, he states that most teachers believe that transferring knowledge is automatic, and in some cases they are. For example, learning how to read in an English class can carry over to reading your social studies books. However, Ferlazzo then proposes this question, quote, how often in our own classes will students learn new words on a quiz or vocabulary review, but not use them in their writing? Or second language learners will know grammatical written forms, but are unable to use them in conversation, end quote. These students are taught knowledge, but are not being told how to use their knowledge in the real world, so the knowledge becomes ultimately useless to them. Ferlazzo states, quote, we want our students to be able to apply the knowledge and skills they are learning with us to other challenges inside and outside of school. The goal of our English class is not to have the students pass the exam, but to be competent and critical lifelong writers and readers. The goal of studying history is not to memorize the dates of major battles, but to develop a broad historical perspective that they can apply to understanding the world around them today and in the future, end quote. If the students are not being given the opportunity or instruction on how to apply their knowledge to real-world problems, then the knowledge will become useless to the students outside of a school environment. We hope you enjoyed our presentation and gained a new wrinkle in your brain.